Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Hager number 1150 single acting spring hinge full mortise. This is a 4.5 by 4.5, shown to you in this 32D satin stainless steel finish. The 1150 is synonymous with stainless steel hinge with all stainless steel components. This would be, there's a magnet. It's completely it's non-ferrous anyway to that magnet. Something appropriate for use where an extreme amount of moisture is going to be expected. These are quite unusual to sell these. And these hinges, quite frankly, are going to an airport in the Middle East, and they're, for the exterior doors that will go out to, runways. Need to be self-closing, but also need to be completely non-ferrous. So let's dissect the part number. The 1150, of course, does mean that it's that it is a spring hinge, single-acting spring hinge, stainless steel, either polished or satin. Either of those are available. And you would select that. Stainless steel components. So that means that the internal stuff in here, the spring, the plug, the pin holding the spring in place, is all stainless components. Okay. After that, this becomes a single-acting spring hinge. But before we go on, it's a 3-knuckle hinge, okay, versus the typical 5-knuckle. 3-knuckle hinge. Now, it's full mortise, meaning that you can see the swag on the hinge leaves here. Means that when the hinge is mortised to the edge of the door and frame, it's intended to be flush. Okay. 4.5, 4.5. The height comes first on this sort of hinge, so it's going to be 4.5 high by 4.5 wide. Okay. Non-ferrous wood, all machine screws, half wood screws is typical for a hinge like this. All machine, meaning you can go metal door, metal frame, and half wood, meaning metal frame, wood door, pretty typical for that sort of application. So it's a spring hinge, single acting. There is a guide below this video to how many hinges you should be looking at based on the size of the door. So generally, you're dealing with a door that's up to 3 foot by 7 foot. Okay. Per Hager's recommendation, if you've got a door up to 70 pounds, 1 spring hinge and 2 regular hinges or ball bearing hinges, the pivoting axis of this 1150 is compatible with other 4.5, 4.5 inch hinges, so you can indeed mix and match. If you get up to 115 pounds, they're saying go with 2 spring hinges, and up to 150 pounds, all 3 spring hinges. Now, I'm a fan of all spring hinges in the sense of being aggressive with the quantity. If you're not sure, add 1 more. Now, I realize these are quite expensive, but at the same time, if you're putting complete stainless steel hinges onto a door, it's probably an important application. And if there are spring hinges in lieu of a closer, probably needs to close importantly. These are not the sort of hinges that you would use in a residential application. They're just too expensive because of the nature of what they are. 3-knuckle, all stainless. So anyway, the point of the matter is I have found greater success when I've gone to 2 hinges rather than 1, or 3 rather than 2, because you've got to really crank the spring up in order to get the door moving fast enough through the closing cycle to overcome wind pressure or wind resistance, and then the friction of the latch hitting the strike plate to get it to close reliably every time. And it's possible. Well, it's not possible with this hinge, but you could be installing spring hinges on a fire-rated door. I don't believe a non-ferrous hinge is correct for a fire door. But if the door is fire-rated, it really needs to close and latch. When you've got more spring hinges rather than less, you can share that load better amongst all the spring hinges, because you can then think of a tugboat. It doesn't go very fast, but it pulls. Okay, think of more spring hinges giving you better torque, and I have found better success at the very last few degrees of that closing cycle. There's still enough stored energy in those springs to get it to close and latch, rather than getting it slamming because you've had to crank the spring up so high just to get the door moving, because it kind of peters out there near the end. It's just a construct of being a spring under that sort of torsion. Setting the hinge spring tension is very, very simple. Okay, basically the bottom line is this: you're going to get with the order with the hinge an Allen wrench. Oh, I've got that in there. Here we go. Setting the Allen wrench, and by the way, there is a link to the instructions below this video, which you can just click on and pull up. Instructions will also come with the hinge. Okay. The tension collar is inside of here. You can see it because it looks clearly different than the bottom. Tension collar goes up, regardless of whether it's a left-hand door or a right-hand door, non-handed. Tension Allen wrench, or the tension rod, is going to go into the head inside of the tension collar in the top. There we go. And as you turn that clockwise, as you turn that clockwise, you see that you reveal additional holes as I do that. And it's into one of those new holes that you're going to insert the included tension pin. There are the tension pins. There's 3 of them in this package because this order for the client has 3 hinges. You only need 1 per hinge. And you would insert that into that hole. You're done. You're good to go. That's how you set the tension. Nothing else to discuss in that regard. There's also a link below this video to the template, which shows everything important dimensionally about it. One thing we didn't mention, that this is 134 thousandths of an inch leaf thickness, which is standard commercial weight. Okay, 134 is the typical leaf thickness for this sort of hinge. Hager is a full line manufacturer of all things hinge related. The fact that they're known as Hager Hinge is how I knew them before they were just Hager. Says it all. Every sort of hinge that you could possibly commercially need, Hager can make or sell you almost without exclusion. I can't think of a hinge that they've not been able to make. And a 3-knuckle stainless steel hinge is kind of a rarity to actually see. There's even a date code on the back of this hinge. Very nice thing. The last thing I'd like to state is show you the Hager logo there. It says USA below it. I believe this to be a domestically manufactured hinge. Now, they import a lot of stuff too, but a lot of their custom material is domestically manufactured. Hager, full-line manufacturer of all things hinge-related: weather stripping, door closers, exit devices, lock sets, kick plates, trim and auxiliary hardware. One-stop shop, so to speak. If you have any questions on the Hager 1150, 4.5 stainless steel single-acting spring hinge, or any other Hager product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.